Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome to your February 2019, 1st through 15th. I said that backwards. Reading. Love reading because, love day. So I got to get my gigolo on and read you the Valentine's Day card that I got you. I love you, Sagittarius. I'm truly fortunate to have you in my life. And I don't need a cookie to tell me that. But I'll take one anyway. You know I love a cookie. Love always. Your Taurian, Princess India. Don't you feel loved? Welcome to your reading, Sagittarius. We're going to take a look at you as well as your cross watcher for the 1st to the 15th of the month. So first we're going to do an overall energy from our whispers of love, because you have to whisper when you say it, just letting you know. And then we're going to look at the energies going on with you guys from the Tarot of Sexual Magic, So we're going to add Spirit to, and then we're doing the Dice of Resonance at the end. So we're going to ask Spirit to give us clear and direct guidance for Sagittarius peoples for the 1st to the 15th of February. Please, Spirit, clear and direct guidance for Sagittarius. Anything that they need to know, anything of utmost importance, I ask that come to the forefront in this reading. And I thank you in advance, Spirit, because I know you're good for it. And what's not, or whatever. First card is for Sagittarius. The second card is for our cross watcher. Sagittarius and the cross watcher. This is going to be interesting. Whoa. Whoa. Okay. 2 cards for Sagittarius. Goodness gracious. Next card for the cross watcher, please, Spirit. Oh, okay. Okay. I got it. Interesting. So, the overall energy for Sagittarius is get to know each other. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Learning to meet another's need for love is important for a relationship to grow. Next, we have honesty is essential. To be a loving person, it is important that we speak truthfully in a loving manner. Interesting. So this is more or less, and of course, I feel like I need to tread lightly when I say this. It's like, okay, typically when we think about relationships, we think about them being 50-50, right? But I always say that, 2 halves make a whole mess, So this to me is more or less about being 100-100, okay? So when that comes to moving forward in a relationship, just meeting someone, with you guys, if you're just meeting someone, this is more along the lines of being 100 within yourself, right? So walking into a situation of meeting someone new, not with any insecurities, right? So kind of like projecting past things. So say hypothetically, if, I don't know, if you're between jobs right now, right? It's not necessarily going into this situation wearing that on your forehead, right? And I mean that in an energetic sense, because like when we're dealing with people in conversations and stuff, and people are insecure about something, insecure people are the easiest people to kind of pick out of a crowd because it's the volunteer of information, or trying to overly explain or overly rationalize something. So what I'm feeling like for those of you who are just meeting somebody, it's imperative to get to a place within the self. And I said this to somebody else too, but it's like accepting this is where I'm at right now. I think it was Aquarius. It's like, this is where I am right now. It's like, I'm not a bum, I just got laid off from my job or my company folded or whatever. And it's like I'm actively looking for, other employment. I just haven't found it yet. But not to put yourself in this mental space of like rejecting yourself before anyone ever rejects you, if that makes sense, right? And then the other thing is when, specifically if you're getting to know someone new, is making sure that, well, I want to say that in two ways. Not really so much on Sagittarius, coming off on some false pretense type stuff, but another person. So if you take everything that I just said and kind of reverse it, it's like looking for those characteristics in a person. Like, take your time and get to know the person, but be cognizant of their speech. You know what I mean? Are they offering a little too much of an explanation? You know what I'm saying, for stuff? And that's not to necessarily say that in every case it's going to be a negative thing, but just be aware of that. I don't know why I feel the need to say that so much, but because I keep hearing false pretenses. So I guess I could just leave it at, whether it's you or the other person, just be clear within yourself so you know that either you're not, you know, eluding someone via false pretenses, or this person is not eluding you that way. Like, kind of trying to paint a picture to you of something that it's really not, if that makes sense, right? So honesty is just really key in your relationship dealings between now going into the 15th of February, right? So the first card we have for Sagittarius is the Four of Swords. That's interesting. Then we have the Ten of Chalices. Then we have, interesting, the Knight of Chalices. This is interesting. So Sagittarius wants a nice little, you know, emotionally fulfilled, you know, reciprocity filled, foundational, potentially leading to marriage and commitment type of deal going on here. But, oh, this is interesting. The first thing I'm hearing is, this is a person who's been single for a very long time, right? They've been like legit in hermit mode on some stuff, right? And I'm more or less hearing it in the sense of like, you desire a commitment, like personal work has been done. You do desire a commitment. You've done this work on yourself because you wanted to be equipped to be in a commitment, right? But, how can I put this? And I said this with somebody else's reading too, because all the readings are connecting with each other. It was something about, did I say this with Sagittarius? No, I think that was Aquarius in January. So it was something like, okay, a person, when you get into a mode of doing something, so like say, because I think this was Aquarius. So it's like, okay, say you got a job for the sole purpose of purchasing a house, right? So you went ape for a whole year to save money for your down payment for your house. Now you have the house, right? But you're still going hard in the paint at work. Not because you have to, but because you're so used to doing that for a whole year. It's like you haven't really stepped from under that energy, right? So that's kind of the same vibe that I'm getting here. It's like this is a person who, you know, for whatever reason realized, okay, there's some work that I need to do on myself, right? In order for me to draw in people who are more in alignment with me, right? But it's more or less, how can I put it? It's like a fear of opening up. You know what I'm saying? It's a fear of opening up. And I feel like this is like subconscious. So it's kind of like, okay, you went through a really bad relationship in the past, right? And you realize, like, say if you were like in a toxic or an abusive relationship, right? So I get into this toxic or abusive relationship with, there's a crow at the window. That's weird. Okay. Okay. So you're in a toxic or an abusive relationship, right? And you realize, like, once this ends, it's like, okay, so something in me drew this in. Let me do some personal work, go to therapy, whatever, right? So you go through this healing path. You decide to not date. You're focused on yourself, right? But it's like kind of being stuck there. So you're not dating at all anymore. And it's not that you aren't ready for a relationship, because with the 10 of Cups, to me, it's like you've gotten your own personal fulfillment. You know what I'm saying? So you're personally fulfilled. So that means that you're at the right place to draw in someone else who is emotionally fulfilled, which goes back to my initial thing where it would be a relationship where it's 100-100 instead of 100-0 or 50-50. So you're equipped to be able to invest into a stable relationship, which means that you're going to, you know, attract someone, because like attracts like, right? But it's the whole thing of like still holding yourself back from that. But this is the thing that I can tell you of how this works with personal growth and things of the sort. Now, when I was in therapy eons ago, I remember one of the first things that my therapist told me was that I needed to stop dating. And I looked at her like she was crazy, you know? So I was like, what was I? I might have been like 19 or 20 or something like that. And I'm like, lady, okay, first of all right, I need to get married, okay? I need to have children and like be married, okay? I can't not date. Like, what if I don't meet my husband and stuff like that, right? So I thought that was completely asinine. But it took me a long time in getting my heart broken, like a lot while I was in therapy, which kept like impeding my progress. So I looked at it as like an authoritarian declaration, like, oh, you need to stop dating. And I'm like, first of all, you don't know me. How you going to tell me to not be dating nobody? But it took me to go through like experience, which she had forewarned me about, for me to get that whole like attracts like thing. First of all, I'm in therapy. Homegirl was broken. All right. So I'm broken and I'm going to therapy to get more in alignment, right, with myself, to heal and everything else. So with me being broken, if like attracts like, what am I going to attract? Somebody who's broken too. You know what I'm saying? So I kept getting my heart broken. So all of the progress that I was making, I kept getting kicked back. You know what I'm saying? And I'd have to like keep doing things all over again, which extended the process until I learned, okay, so maybe I shouldn't be dating right now, right? But I'm saying that to say that what you did was the right thing to do, because it does impede your healing process when you're dating, when you're trying to heal. If you're doing like a focused type of healing, not just like personal development path and ascension and spiritual growth. But I mean, if there's like trauma that you've experienced and you're going through a specific process of trying to heal that particular trauma, right? But the thing is, when it comes to our personal development path, once you've built that foundation and come to a place of personal fulfillment within the self, we have this thing called personal bias, right? And this is where it kind of gets into that mirror effect type of thing. So if I have a floor or a foundation within myself, meaning I know who I am, what I want, and what I'm doing, but I'm just going through this path of, you know, like understanding myself in a deeper level, right? Life and the whole spiritual evolution process, whatever. And this is something I told Pisces a few months back too. But it's like, if you decide to put yourself in hermit mode and permanently stay there because it's like, you know, there's bad, low vibrational, toxic people out there and I want to stay away from them type of deal. It's like you won't ever be able to work on your personal bias, right? And I'm a firm believer in the fact that spirit created all human beings that way, like with the little thorn in our side, where there's certain facets of yourself you cannot get to know just being, you know, yourself by yourself, you know, because there's only so much you're aware of. And then there's a facet of yourself, your personal bias, that you're not aware of, because you can only know that in relation to the other. So in the bigger scheme of things, I cannot know who I am without you, right? So just like with me going to see a therapist back in the day, or me being a therapist now, my clients, I'm more or less a unbiased sounding board that's able to reflect what's coming out of you back to you without putting my, you know, perception, influence, beliefs, values, any of that. So it's almost like, it's kind of funny. It's like shape-shifting. It's like therapy. This is the funniest thing. So the best way to look at therapy is like you and yourself, right? Like, so your best self and where you are now having a conversation, and your best self being able to talk to self and have like a real conversation and not be thoughts in your head to help you grow, right? So that's what we need each other for. Not necessarily saying that it always has to be a therapist, because stuff like this can manifest in friendships, relationships, what have you. And I feel like that's the thing that's kind of missing out with Sagittarius. It's kind of getting stuck in this whole thing of trying to fix myself and grow and heal and grow and heal. And it's like you've done that for so long that you don't realize that you're already there and you can go back out into the land of the living. You know what I'm saying? Because the only way that you're going to be able to get what you want, which is why you did all of this in the first place, is if you actually talk to people. So go on a date or something, Sagittarius. Just saying. Anyway, on to your cross watcher. Be in the present and dream of the future. When we dream, everything is possible. Why am I hearing on a boat? Okay. First card for the cross watcher is the King of Chalices. Interesting. Then we have the Empress. Oh, interesting. And then we have the Nine of Pentacles. This is interesting. Because I'm trying to figure out if this relates to this person or if this is somebody else. I'm talking about if the cross watcher is, if this is in connection with Sagittarius or if this is like something entirely different. Oh, never mind. It's not. Okay. So here's the thing. With the person that Sagittarius is connecting with, y'all are in the same place. This is so eerily strange. You guys are both in the same place. Like, okay. Sagittarius is emotionally fulfilled. Okay. But the cross watcher person, they're like emotionally and financially fulfilled, spiritually fulfilled, all that. Not saying that Sagittarius isn't any of those things, but that's just kind of what's sticking out to me. But I feel like with them, it's the same theme of like putting in this work to get here, like to get to this point. But it's like, for them, it's still this, it's like a, how do I want to say that? Like a holding, it's a holding back. Like I'm seeing it like giving in increments. Like, okay, and this is going to be really weird of what I'm seeing. It's like if you think about, I don't even know if anybody knows what this is, but I don't know. If you took psychology in college, if you just took psychology 101, you know what I was talking about. But I'm seeing like the mice with B.F. Skinner's experiment of like, you know, operant conditioning and all of that stuff. It's like, I feel like the cross-watcher person was in a relationship with a person, and it may have been a water sign male, Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio in the past. And this person was utilizing like behavior conditioning tactics like that. Because with the B.F. Skinner experiment, it's like the mouse would hit the lever and a pellet would come out. Because that's what I was seeing. I kept seeing like a little mouse hitting a lever. And it's like the pellets were coming out, and all of a sudden the mouse is like hitting the lever and there's nothing coming out and the mouse is getting frustrated. Like that's literally what I saw just now. Like, what is happening? So, but actually, and this is like a little side note, if you want to know manipulation tactics that are used in relationships by men or women that are manipulative or abusive or whatever, like the mind conditioning that they do, It's all old school behaviorism psychology. I kid you not. If you go look up B.F. Skinner's experiment and listen to the purpose of the experiment, how the experiment was done, right? Even if we went a little farther and looked at, who is it? Not the Stanford prison experiment. The Lucifer Effect is like a really dope book, though, based on the Stanford prison experiment. Dang it, I can't remember his name. It was the one that was about authority. Whatever. It'll come back to me. But if you just looked at B.F. Skinner's whole little behaviorism thing, that whole experiment with the mice, you'll see the theme of what people do in abusive relationships. I kid you not. And it's so elementary. It's so simple. But if you read that experiment and you tune in on the pattern of the mice, that's something you can use to protect you from someone who's attempting to do this to you. Because I kid you not, it's like literally the same thing of how these people, you know, try to condition you. But anyway, so I feel like our cross watcher went through something like that. And I feel like you guys, this may be someone, if you have not met them yet, this would be someone you guys would just be meeting. And the connection that I'm feeling is here is like Sagittarius is reluctant because of everything I described with you guys, of feeling like I need to work on myself, right? But with the cross watcher, the thing that they're afraid of is ending up in a situation like they were in before, where this person was like dripping out love. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, at first, like it's pretty much like narcissistic behavior, like love bombing a person and then pulling back all the way, and then only giving in these very sporadic, random ways to where you don't know what to expect, and it kind of keeps the person trauma bound to you. So I feel like they've come out of that, like they've healed from that with them being, you know, in their Empress energy now. But, you know, it's kind of one of those little things where it's a little residue. It's a little subconscious little residue that, like, you know, you get triggered and it comes up, right? Because the whole lesson that it was important for them to learn in all of this was the difference between true connection and obsession is what the cross watcher was supposed to learn. And why we have the card of be present and dream of the future is because you're dipping back to your past, and it's needing to understand that you've had the experiences that you have, you've been through what you've been through, you've healed yourself, and you've bounced back from it. So even though you experienced it back then, it doesn't mean you will experience again unless you haven't healed. But from how it's looking to me, you have. You have a strong sense and foundation of the self. You know what I'm saying? So the only thing that's needed is for you to be present, right? You can daydream a little bit about the future, not too much, because we ain't trying to get into no little Seven of Cups energy, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, be present and enjoy the experience. Don't invest too much into it. Don't, you know, start thinking, what if they're just like them? And what if this happens? Like, don't think about all that. Just be here and be present. And like I was saying, knowing the red flags, knowing the warning signs to look for. You know what I'm saying? But as far as I'm seeing it with both of these people, I think it's reluctance and a little bit of fear from what you guys have experienced in the past and a little tunnel vision. But it's not anything that I'm seeing that would make either one of you like dangerous to the other. You know what I'm saying? I just think that you guys have been through the same thing in two different ways, and it's manifesting differently presently. But it's just important to understand what you learned from those experiences and move forward. Because with us having the 9 of Pentacles here, the next thing is the 10. And for all of this to be in this reading, to have the 10 of Cups and then us going from the 9 of Pentacles to the 10, that's super good for a relationship. Having the Empress here and the Knight of Chalices. So to me, overall, it's looking like after healing and recovery, that, you know, an offer is going to be made of something that could potentially lead to a marriage, you know, or a happy relationship, or, you know, and consistency and things of the sort. Congratulations, Sagittarius. So we're going to throw the dice of resonance. Is that 24 minutes? I did good. 24 minutes. So we're going to throw the dice of resonance. If you're not familiar with the dice of resonance, oh my God. Always falling on the floor. But it's 12 zodiac signs. Oh, it fell on Libra. I don't know what that means for anyone. But it's 12 zodiac signs. 2 clarifying die that lets you know the role a person can play in your life and if it's sun, moon, or rising. And then you have the ability to ask a yes or no question. So if you want to ask a yes or no question, pause me, think of your question, and then unpause me. But the answers that you can get are yeses and nos and time-sensitive answers. And in the event that it's a time-sensitive answer, take that as a yes and the time in which it would happen. So, I almost choked. So I don't interpret them. I just toss them out and, however it resonates. Interesting. We have Capricorn, Leo, question mark. So that means it could be sun, moon, rising, or Venus. Crush, and the answer to the question is no. So Capricorn, Leo, question mark, crush, and no. So Saggies, that has been your reading. I love your freaking faces, and I hope you guys enjoy your Valentine's Day. But I will see you sooner than later. Deuces.